Alright, welcome. This is Devin from Deadly Yard Gaming. For those coming for the first time, welcome. For those coming back, welcome back. Today we are going to do a recap of my White Walker build that I had built previously, but now remaking due to the 7.10 changes and all that stuff. So, changed up a few things on the build, and so I wanted to bring this back, make sure anybody that's running it can stay up to date with it and all that fun stuff. So, but first off, before we get into that, if you do like the content, please smash that like button. If you want to keep up to date with this and help support the channel, please smash that subscribe button. It means the world to me. And also, if y'all want, join us in the Discord to chat with us. You can even chat with me while I'm live streaming down there as well, without having to join me on Twitch or wherever I'm streaming at the moment. But other than that, let's go ahead and get in there and get going. Someone requested me to start doing my gameplay at the start of the video, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll have the timestamps down below of uh, all that fun stuff. So for those that like to try and jump around and get to the nitty gritty, y'all can do so. First off, we're going to do a run, then we'll go through everything. So, I mean, I could tell it runs over stuff really easy. Um, and I have crap gear on right now. I don't have all the. I mean, the damage of this is like half of what it's going to be, just because a couple of the affixes on here are rare to get. And now I might actually be able to get them because chances are I've missed a couple over the time because of not having a loop filter to really be able to see it like something like that, to where now I know, hey, there's something, go look at it type deal. There. Oh, that's a permanent skeleton. That's one of the other rare ones, but I don't. I've got to test that out because it's increased spell damage per skeleton mage, but that doesn't. I don't think that has anything to do with um, me or with my minions. It just gives me increased damage per skeleton mage, which I don't do any damage, so it would do me no good. If I did damage, it would be nice. Oh, there he is. See, insta-death. Alright, so now we are at the training dummy, and we're going to go over all the breakdown of the gear, the passes, and the skills. First off, we'll start with the passes. Starting out with the Acolyte, we'll be coming over here for the Vitality and Minion Health, Cast Speeds, Attack Speeds, Armor per level, and down here for Armor and Armor for the Minions. And then we're coming over here, we'll be going Minion Damage, Attack Speed, and Cast Speed. Defenses for them, one here just to get to here for the increased minion health. After that, we're coming over here for melee, bow, and minion physical damage. Now this is more for the melee portion of the build, the physical portion, and I'll explain that here in just a moment because I have two ways of setting this up, and I'm going to go over the two different variants to where you might not need this if you want to go without it. Do not get this because that is for skeleton, not skeleton mage. It will not give you another one. Come up here for the attack speed, cast speed, and all that fun stuff. Crits, more crits, and more crits. Resistances, once you max this out, this will give you 30% elemental resist, necro resist, then of course damage. Here for the flat damage, here for the extra, this one is the extra mage, so you get your 5th mage here, and then this for the haste and frenzy. That generally pops every time it's able to get off cooldown. So that's the passive. So now as far as the wrong button skills, I'm going to go over this one last just because I got to kind of inform y'all of a few things on this. Race, essentially you'll be coming over here. Health, mana cost, all that fun stuff. Slower decay, crits, and more crits. Mana efficiency and cast speed, and then base damage. And then going with the skeleton mage, we are coming up here for the cryomancers for the ice versions. Increased damage removes the other ones you don't need. Stun chance and freeze multiplier. Adaptive spell, and then down here for the crits and move speed so they go a little bit faster. Get your crits and all that fun stuff down here in the extra mage. So this will bring you to 4. The passive will bring you to 5. And then one up here, you gotta make sure you put this one up here. That way you get that extra chance of 2 additional projectiles. With you having 5 mages out, generally 2 to 3 of them will proc the 3 every round, so you'll be having it just with 1 point. Blood Rip, we are coming over here, all the way over here, getting these just to get to here so you can get the health to mana or health to ward. Coming up here for mana cost to zero it out, and then cast speed, of course. More cast speed, health granted, travel speeds where it goes. The rip gets back to faster. Mana granted on cast. This is basically what you're just pretty much using this as a source of mana and ward generation as well. Make this to where it targets your minions. That way you can get more from your minions. And then per intelligence. I actually want to recheck this now that they fixed some, because there was an issue where when you cast it on your minions that you casting it, see, it might actually be better to switch it back. Let me see. I didn't even think about that. But granted, the increase in health granted back might still make it to where it's better just to keep it the way it is. So I'll test that out, see if it really makes that big of a difference. But I mean, you're gonna get the same ward. You'll probably get less ward back due to the fact that you don't get that 100% increased health generation because the ward's kind of based on your health generation you're getting back. The golem, you'll just grab everything down here for high defenses, and it can cast Blood Rip itself to help heal itself, health gain, and all that fun stuff. And then this one, I have this set up to where it uses this node. So essentially you want a smaller ring, so I went without getting this. I went around that and kind of this way. due to the fact that everything outside the ring gets the buff. Everything that gets buffed pretty much gets double damage. So all my mages, all the flame race and all them are doing double damage as long as I have a dread shade up somewhere away from them. Now I'm still trying. It's hard to really do where you have get your minions inside of one of the rings and then cast it, because you can cast it up to 3 times or have 3 of them up at one time. So if I still want to check is if, say I cast one and the mob runs into all my minions or the majority of my minions, if I cast another Dreadshade to another um, enemy that's staying out of range and cast on them, will they still get the buff even though they're in a different ring? That's what I've been trying to do, because I only have one of these. I can't just cast it here and then have them hit over here and see if they get the damage, because I only have one. So gotta do. It's kind of hard because everything dies so quickly. Trying to cast it, get them in there, and then cast it again before they die. It's hard. Um, so the way I have it set is where this is for the caster only variant. So you'll come here to get everybody, all my minions not inside the area get the buff. You'll come over here, grab the increase buff effect, plague, increase plague. And see, that's what I kind of wonder how that plays, since we're not casting it on the minions. If the buff is affected from what I cast on it, since it's normally supposed to be casted on a minion, is it going to be, since I'm casting on the enemy, is it the lower they get, the more the increase, or is it still just the minions that are buffed? That I'm still trying to figure out, and I'm going to send them a message kind of see how that factors in, see if they can give me some insight on how that works, because it's kind of really hard to test that, which as fast as stuff everything dies. Now this just does that extra tick, which is not really, I'm just coming here to get to here because I didn't have enough points to be able to go this way. And then come down here to grab the attack speed, cast speed. This is cast speed and attack speed, so this equals up to being pretty much 80%. And then come down here this way to get the area, and this is where you're getting the increase of damage, is a 60% here. And then this to attach it to the enemies, and the maximum duration is increased. Now, for multiplayer, this node is going to come into play really big, so I would probably get rid of this, or depending on how this functions, once I get into figuring that one out, or get some insight on this, how this actually functions, you would want to get this, because this would help all the rest of the, like if you're doing it the way I have set up, anybody that's a caster or that stays outside the ring is going to get a lot more damage. You yourself is going to get a lot more damage. You're going to get a lot more cast speed, attack speed, stuff like that. But now, if you flip to the other variant of this build to where it's half caster, I mean, you still have your 3 mages or 5 mages. If you flip over to where you do half melee race and half flame race, you can do away with this and come over here. You can kind of get rid of this, get rid of that, is, and then kind of get rid of all this. Essentially pick that back up because you'll want as big as ring you want as possible, and then come up here, go to 3 here, come up here and grab that. And that way you'll have it to where the enemies that are within the range, they will be the minions within the ring will be doing a lot more damage. So your melee race will be doing a lot more damage. Whatever caster race, um, ne- um, skeleton mages that happen to be within the ring are going to get buffed. Your golem's going to get buffed. Um, and then not only that is if you have this, it will buff your tanks. They will hit faster um, and do more damage. So it would be kind of one of those things like if you have a set group of friends that you play with, and maybe you only have one tank and everybody else plays as caster roles, in a sense, you would probably want to do the caster version of this. That way, there's more players, like human players, outside of the rings, and only one person in there that's not getting the buff. And if it happens to work to where you can cast it on that one enemy and then cast it again on another, and then the tank will be buffed as long as he's not in both rings. I'm gonna try to reach out and get some clarification on that to see how if that's the way it's supposed to function, or if you're in a ring period type deal. Because it essentially just says has a significant larger rate, but buffs minions outside of the area instead. So that would lead me to believe that anybody within in area of any of the cast would not get the buff. So, um, so with that, everything else still stays the same if you're doing the melee version. So the only thing that you would change um, is on the gear you would take one out and just put one in there that's around maybe 50%. This is the one I normally use is this. Um, if you can get one with like crit strike, that'd be great. Um, or armor shred, minion armor shred, something like that. That would be awesome. Or the one you really want to get is Summon Flame Wraith around 50%, and then chance to apply Dreadshade, or not Dreadshade, Mark of Death. If you can get that on that, that is the perfect one that you want to get, but it's hard to get. I've never gotten one. I know plenty of people that run these type of builds um, that haven't gotten one yet. Some that have, some that haven't. So it's hard to get it on that one. And once you do, don't get rid of it. Uh, but you would just take one of these out. That way you'll have half and half, and you're good. So now I'm gonna give you the breakdown of the gear. Um, that way, I'm gonna pull it from a because I haven't had my gear set up. Now this you can use this or with what's on my character sheet. The transient's really good to work with. Gives you more mobility with the movement and a lot of resist from it. So it's really nice to have. Um, and then we'll go into the gear now. So with the gear, the main key pieces that you'll want to get at bare minimum is the Reach of the Grave, um, and then Death Rattle. Those are the two. If you get one or the other, put it on as soon as you can because you'll see the damage increase significantly from this by itself. Um, Other than that, we're coming up here. Now, bear in mind, the bottom two affixes are very rare to get, but I'll go over those, some that you can use instead if you want, until then. Um, so the helm you would want to get Intel, Physical Void, Resist Set, Minion Freeze, and Skeleton Mage damage. Same thing for the chest, Intel, Minion Health, and then the same thing here, Freeze and Skeleton Mage damage. If you get, say, one of each on a helmet and chest, put it on there and just use that. Or if you really want to push your luck, put tier 2 of each or one or the other, or tier 2 maybe just the skeleton mage and then tier 1 this. And then work on a separate piece to try to get maxed at. something like that, because of the fact that they're so rare. You don't want to get like 3 or 4 and try to put it on there and break it and then try to rip it back off and lose them altogether. Because I've been playing for a while now. Now, granted, I probably missed a few just because of not having the loop filter to where I can really see it drop and just maybe might not have moused over it type deal. But um, I've only gotten the crit one. I've gotten one of the skeleton mage and I lost it today on my chest. I had got a chest. I tier 1 the intel and the minion health, and then I went to put the minion, the skeleton mage damage, just tier 1. This was 3 tier 1s on there. There was only like a 4% or 5% chance of it breaking, and it broke. And because it broke from me putting on it, I lost it. There was no, I couldn't try to rip it back off to get it back. So that was a bad one for me to take. So try to get at least 1 or maybe 2 skeleton mage damage on one, and then 1 freeze multiplier, and then work on a separate piece. That way, if you lose them, you're not losing out on that damage altogether. The offhand, we're going the blood rust, spell minion spell damage, cast speed, minion damage, elemental resist, ring, the minion rings, intel, physical void, minion damage, mana regen. Same thing on the other one, but this one poison. Uh, and then the belt, we're doing minion health, elemental resist, minion damage, poison resist, gloves, cast speed buffs, or gloves, intel, set elemental resist, minion damage, elemental resist. The other one is going to be cast speed, elemental resist, set, mana regen, and minion damage. Now I'm adding in mana regen because I'm trying to. I want to get my mana to a point where, um, like, if say I bust out a bunch of these and then I run to the next one, my health, my mana should be regen enough to where I can bust out a bunch more as soon as I get to um, like the boss or the next set of enemies and so on and so forth, to where I don't have to focus on casting this as much, or casting Blood Rip as much. So that's the reason behind me having mana regen. You put instead, if you want, you can do mana in there, which will work just as much as just you'll have to cast this a bit more to cap it out. Um, but like you see in there, there is physical um, damage increase in there for the, where is it? Because when I had, I guess I changed it. Um, but essentially, once you get this all set up, you will not have to worry about mana as much because of the regen, and your damage is going to be through the roof. We got a lot of intel to work with for them boosting up the damages there. Because on the spell sheet, why is this? Something's not calculating right. I mean, once you get things min-max, that's where you'll be. But this doesn't calculate the 142% skeleton mage damage, and then another 100 and almost 100% skeleton mage damage from this. So that's almost 300% just skeleton mage damage increase. So other than that, the freeze rate multiplier is not as rare. I mean, it's still pretty rare. You can do something on the ends of, where is it? I mean, You could do the crit strike one to get more crit in there, and then damage reflect will be nice. Don't really have to worry about that one because the other one works for all, meaning not just your skeleton and skeleton mages. But that's what I would go. I would kind of go the spell crit that one, get more often, and then maybe a defensive stat, whatever you need, just while you're grinding up and stuff like that. So that's what I would kind of work with. If you don't get one of these, which I know a lot of people that take forever to get one, and someone like me that gets them all the time, just make yourself a staff that or a scepter or something that does, and craft it with minion damage, minion crit, minion uh, damage, and all that fun stuff. So um, now, as far as the blessings that you can get, I would recommend trying, if you can get the ones with the resist on them. That'll be the bust. Then you can kind of rework um, some of your stuff to squeeze out more damage and more more mana out of the build. But other than that, that is pretty much it. Uh, so other than that, if you like the content, smash that like button. If you want to keep up with this build and my other builds and my live streams and all that stuff, smash that subscribe button. It definitely helps out, and we definitely appreciate it and help support the channel. And like I said, if you want to jump in the Discord, chit chat with us, the link is down below. Like I said, I'll have the timestamps for everything, a link to this build planner as well. And then other than that, that's pretty much it. I do have a loot filter. If y'all want, I can link that in there. I'll actually include it down below if y'all want to try it out with how I have it set up. I'm more than happy to try it out and see how you like it. But other than that, I hope you all have a great one. My name is Devin from Deadly Gaming, and I'll see y'all next time.